What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Blazers Uprise live here on a Monday. Kicking off the week and kicking off preseason, as there's a Blazer game tomorrow. There was kind of a Blazer game yesterday, FanFest. We can talk a little bit about that, but we're mostly looking forward to the Blazers playing, half an NBA game tomorrow, because half of the teams on the floor will be NBA teams as they take on the New Zealand Breakers of the NBL. Cool story for Ryan Rupert going up against the team he played for last year before joining the NBA. So we'll give you guys a little bit of a preseason preview. This will be a shorter stream, and I actually mean that this time. And I also have a video that's a preseason preview that might go a little bit more in depth or a little bit more quick hitting. That'll be up at the end of the stream. So Eric, how's it going, man?
Oh, not too bad. How are you doing today?
Doing good. Just struggled getting live because YouTube was glitching or something. So finally here, finally ready to talk about some Portland Trailblazer basketball. Chat, how are you guys doing? What'd you accomplish today? Let me know. I always love reading about your days and seeing how they went.
And for those that are wondering, the game tomorrow night will not be on Root Sports or any Blazer broadcasting. So you can try to pirate an Australian or New Zealand stream. But yeah, I don't know how. Last year there was one for just on the Jumbotron, so you could see what was happening in the arena, but that was it.
Yeah, and if we can watch the game, we'll probably do some sort of post game. If not, then I don't know. Then we'll stream again on Thursday, I guess, because that's our next game, and that one will be televised. Kind of sucks that they won't televise it, right? Like, we've been waiting all offseason. This first preseason game. People just want Blazer basketball, even though it is against an NBL team. But it is what it is, so we'll see. We'll see if we have a feed into the arena, because I'm not about to go to the arena. If there's no feed, I might just stay at Rec League, because my ankle's feeling better and feeling pretty good for the first time in a whole month. So I'm itching to actually be able to competently play basketball. But we'll see if this team competently plays basketball tomorrow in this preseason. Let's just jump straight into it. Eric, what do you think is the most important thing this preseason for this basketball team? Is it just instilling sets? Is it just getting used to each other? Chemistry? What is there anything that really sticks out to you as a sticking point for this team?
Well, right off the bat, I think I want to see what the starting lineup is if everyone's playing. Now we might not know tomorrow night if certain people don't play, but I do want to see if it's true that Matisse is going to start at the 3 and how Sharp responds to coming off the bench, if he had been hopeful of starting all summer and that kind of stuff. So I just want to see how, first of all, just the team, I don't want to see anyone sulking because they're not starting or anything like that. But second of all, I want to see this passing up-tempo offense, and I want to see if it really does look different than it has the last decade, and if we're actually going to see them get out and run the floor and get back on and play some defense. So I'm just looking overall just to see the effort there on defense and just the pushing of the pace on offense.
Yeah. Style of play is really intriguing without Dame, with a brand new team. We're going to get our first feel against New Zealand tomorrow night, but we're really going to get a true feel when they play an NBA team, because when you're looking at a team not from the NBA, lesser talent, I do expect them to be able to force a lot of turnovers tomorrow night and get out and run off those, and that's not going to be truly indicative of how fast they play. I do expect them to be in the top 5 in pace this season in the NBA, which would be the first time in I don't know how long. Maybe somebody in chat can look that up, because this team has not been a run and gun team. But now when you're young, and not only young, you're athletic, right? And you're not running everything through Dame, and Dame didn't play at the fastest pace, and that's not a knock on him by any means. He liked to bring the ball up, set up a pick and roll. He's one of the best pick and roll players ever, so you can't blame him for that. And they just ran a lot of a lot of pick and roll with him, but this team projects differently as a team that's going to get out and run. And you just look at the lob targets, Eric, and that's what I touch upon in this video I'm going to drop later tonight. Like, you got Scoot from your point guard to your center. You got Scoot and Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Grant, Deandre Ayton, and off the bench you got Robert Williams III. Like, out of their top 8, their 6 best players, arguably, are all lob targets, right? The only guys that aren't are, Thibault, which he can kind of throw it down. I wouldn't call him a lob target, but it's not like he's incapable of catching and throwing down a lob. And then, of course, Malcolm Brogdon is a little bit more of a ground-bound guard. But they're super athletic, so I expect them to throw a lot of lobs. And it will be interesting to see, like, the success rate of their lob throwing this preseason and how many of them are, like, they actually convert and how many of them are passes that go out of bounds, right? Because, you don't have to hit 100% of your lobs, right? Like, you get 75% of them and the other quarter go out of bounds. Like, that's a 75% success rate. You'll take that anytime. That's efficient offense. So lob throwing is a big thing for me, coupled with getting out and running. And then just seeing how, like, 3-point happy they are as well in transition and the half court. Is it something where guys are running to the 3-point line and shooting threes like that, or are they filling the lane all the way down to the rim and trying to get to the rim to finish? So like 3-on-2 fast breaks. I'm interested in seeing those scenarios. And just seeing how many threes this team shoots and if they're as 3-point happy as they have been in previous seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have shooters. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much they shoot. We know Anthony and Jeremy are going to shoot a lot of threes, but everyone else probably yet to be determined. Yeah, with the lobs, it's like it's a mindset. It's like I think the Blazers didn't throw lobs the last few years because they didn't have like anyone rolling to the basket like that. There was no lob target. like you had guys that could do it, like you said, but it wasn't like part of their style or their game plan. So yeah, I'm excited to see it. I was seeing some stat today about like Trae Young had the top 3 combinations of like him with another player for lob dunks. I don't know if it was last year or over the last few years or something, but like it wasn't even close. Like he's the only one that consistently throws lobs, and 4th place was like way behind Trae Young, to Capella, to John Collins, and I forgot who the other person was. Okongwu.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
I would assume.
And so yeah, you think about it like in those terms. If you have a guy who's constantly looking for that lob and is always throwing it, and you have guys rim running and hanging out around the rim, that is a weapon that you can utilize, and it'd be fun to see. It's certainly exciting. There's not much more exciting than an alley-oop dunk.
Yeah, and since you bring up Trae, the reason why he's such a good lob thrower is because he has a good floater. He makes bigs guard him 10 to 15 feet away from the rim because the threat of his floater is so deadly that he gets big men when they're dropping pick and rolls or, helping. They get them leaning forward. He gets them stepping forward to try and take away that floater, and that opens up things underneath for that lob target. So, bringing him up is interesting because I think that's going to be key for Scoot, is to truly become deadly with his floater. And he made really good progress from his first year in the G League to his second year in the G League. But, like, it would be huge for him if he could become one of the top 5 guys in the league in terms of shooting floaters, because then he's just going to have bigs that play up on him even when he's not loading up off of one. Like, when he has a lane, he can load up and dunk on anyone, but the in-between and slower pace stuff, especially in the half court, is what I'm really interested in from Scoot and how that looks off the bat. Especially at the NBA level. I think he'll be a really good player in transition. I'm curious about how his half-court offense looks and what role he plays. Like, how many shots is he getting? Is he able to, like, efficiently shoot in the half court. But I think a big key to that would be dialing in that floater, and then those lobs should be there, and it basically becomes a situation where you pick your poison because you got super athletic bigs, and you could even run some weird pick and rolls with like Sharp as the roll man because of how athletic he is. Or, if you want to take that away, Scoot's burying floaters on your head. Like that's what I want to see. I don't expect him to be like top 5 in the league anytime soon floater wise, but just like that's a good goal for his career because it opens up a lot of stuff, and I think Trae Young is a really good example of that.
Absolutely, and if teams are going to go under screens and run drop against him early in his career and make him prove that he can hit threes, you can attack that with your float game if you don't want to shoot the three, and that's a good way to attack drop coverage too, is just getting downhill and using your float game or lobbing it to a big man. I do have a question though. Do you think Ayton really is like a good lob target big? Like he hasn't really been in Phoenix, but maybe that's just the way he was used in the offense.
I mean, he's better than Nurkic.
Oh, for sure.
That's not saying much. He's okay. Like athleticism wise, he should be a really good lob target. But it's just on him to roll hard, and that's something else I'm looking for is like how much is he popping, how much is he rolling, is he rolling at the right times, and that of course depends on what scheme the other team is running. Like when the defense is running drop, it makes more sense to pop to the mid-range. If the defense is playing up at the point of the screen, it makes more sense to roll to the rim, see if you can get a pocket pass because then you're behind the two defenders in the pick and roll. Then you got a lane to the rim to go and dunk the ball. And it's nice to have Gabe in here as a Suns fan who has watched him consistently for a while. So like when we talk about him until we truly get a feel for him, Gabe's comments I think are valuable. And in chat he says he doesn't consistently want oops. Hopefully he turns a new leaf. I mean, you can't sit here and say I'm dominating before the preseason, right? Like in media day, I'm dominating. Okay, well, you're freakishly athletic and huge, so go catch oops and dunk on people. That's what dominating is. Mm-hmm. Dominating isn't short rolling and shooting floaters, which if he's hitting them, it's nice, but he's going to be more efficient when he's trying to dunk the ball, right? So I want him dunk the ball. I want him rolling. I want him catching lobs. And I do think part of it is a mindset thing. Mm-hmm. So, and that's going to be key. Like, that's one of the keys for getting something out of him that Phoenix didn't is by developing more of an aggressive mindset. And maybe that comes just by having more of a role in the offense than he did in Phoenix, where Phoenix he was kind of a bit of an afterthought at times and just got everything in the flow, and that might have made him mentally a little bit more passive than he should be. So that's a key for Ayton, is just having that mentality when he's on the court to dominate, not just when he's doing interviews.
Right. And with the lobs, I always go back to LaMarcus Aldridge, who was fairly inefficient because he took a lot of mid-range jumpers and fadeaway shots and turnarounds. But then you had a couple of years with Andre Miller and Marcus Camby, who both taught him how to roll away from the defender. And, you have to throw the lob too. So not only to roll, but the timing of it, and the passes were always on the money. And he started getting one or two easy dunks or put-ins every game, and that really helped his efficiency and bumped his scoring up to like an all-star level. And so that's when he really took off. So like I hope that's something that helps Ayton unlock. If Scoot really does have good timing and a good feel for teaching Ayton what he's expecting him to do off the roll and stuff like that, letting him know where the ball is going to be. And when you're a big, all you got to do is be there and catch it. That's the easiest part of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, I miss those days, man. I miss when we were kind of like Lob City, and Andre Miller. I wonder how much Brogdon might be able to help with that, although he's not as much of a floor general as Miller was. He's a little bit more of a combo. But that's the thing with Scoot, too, is like Scoot can pass the ball, But is he, as a rookie, is he going to be teaching a big that's been in the league 5 years to like rolling backdoor and then throwing dimes like that? Maybe, maybe. But as a rookie, and that's a curious thing for me going into the season, is like how much of a leader is he in that regard, where he's like telling guys what they should do on the floor. I could see him doing that right off the bat. But as a rookie, 19, a lot of times guys don't want to come in and like step on toes. That could be a good thing with how new this team is, though, where it's like nobody has been entrenched here. All right, like Anthony Simons is the only guy who's entrenched here. So, that's going to be something that's interesting. But Ayton definitely needs to have that mentality.
I don't even think it's like a thing for Scoot. He just seems like he just feels like he is the leader already. Like I don't think he even questions it. Like it's just how he's like his mindset is. Like he just, I think he just thinks he's going to come in and lead the team, and there's no other way he thinks about the game. I think that's just how he approaches it.
Yeah, I agree with that. He's abnormal in that regard.
Yeah.
Because most guys would not have that mindset,
Right. Yeah, I think he's just like, well, I'm Scoot Henderson. Like of course I'm going to come in and lead this team, right?
New era for a reason.
Yeah.
Is there such thing? Because me and Steven talked about this, and I'm curious what your thoughts are. Is there such thing as like too confident, too cocky?
It's only if you don't put in the work. So if you're like all overconfident and stuff, but you don't have that Mamba mentality, behind the scenes, or like Jimmy Butler, 3 a.m. practices. I don't know if it has to be that deep, but like, I think you have to, I think most elite players, we talked about this last stream, I think, like Tim Duncan, I guess, is like one of the few people who didn't really have like an ego or a attitude cockiness wise about him. But like there aren't a whole lot of stars or like elite all-time players that didn't have some sort of huge ego and thought very highly of themselves. And so that's usually a characteristic of a star player.
Out of curiosity, and it's okay if you did you watch that segment with Steven?
I have not watched that.
Because the reason why I ask is because he was like, yeah, Tim Duncan's the only exception. And you said it literally what I said, is like it comes down to the work.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't watched that podcast, right, if you guys have kind of been under a rock, we're dropping more content on this second channel than ever. Tomorrow we got a podcast from 503 Blazer fans, aka Noah Patterson, on Twitter. He's huge. If you spend time on Twitter, you probably know who he is. He's doing a podcast with Chase McGraw, so that'll be up tomorrow. But I did one with Steven. Scorching Trails podcast is what we renamed it. That was on Friday. So we had that debate. We like to dive into the topics that are a little, hot take type topics, and that's kind of one of them. And yeah, that's what I said, is like some guys let confidence breed complacency, and that feeling of like I made it, or guys the year after they get paid, like there's a lot of guys that will play their ass off in a contract year and then they get paid and then they struggle because they got their bag, right? Like as long as it doesn't breed complacency, I don't think there is a such thing as being too confident. So I was curious for your thoughts on that.
Well, Dylan Brooks is Pacey Zach brings up Dylan Brooks in chat. That's an example of someone who's like cockiness gets in the way, in my opinion. But he's like not a star player. He's a role player, and you can't have your role player thinking he's the star. So I'm pretty confident to say that that Scoot is going to be like, one of the, if not best player on the team, not necessarily right away, but in a few years. And so when it's your best player, I think you can have that. If it's someone that you don't want jacking up like 30 shots a game and he's acting like Dion Waiters out there, like if you go 0 for 9, it's not good because you could get hot or whatever the quote is. I'd rather go 0 for 30 than 0 for 9. So
You know what it is? The better you are, the more okay it is to be cocky or like overconfident.
uh yeah,
And it's more justifiable because you're that dude if you're that
mhm.
good, you know?
Yeah, and I think it's just I don't know with some players like elite players they just I mean their failure isn't really in their in their repertoire like they never think about failing so like it just doesn't cross their mind and that might be something that I mean because we were lucky to have Dame for so long and he was never afraid of the moment or the late game situation. If Scoot is like that too, where he just plays ball and it doesn't get to him those moments, I think that attitude will be fine, and it's actually a good thing in my opinion, as long as he puts in the work.
Yep. By the way, quick little intermission. Leave a like on the stream. Leave a like. I did a chat poll. It wasn't as effective as I was hoping. I didn't want to have to ask, but I have to ask. It helps out the channel. Easiest way to support the channel is by leaving a like. I try not to ask for it, but sometimes I got to do it as a YouTuber. And then, dude, I'm happy to finally have the weight of the Dame situation off our shoulders.
Right.
Like, I was just kind of thinking about that just now. My chat's so civil. Chat is so civil. And it just hit me, man. Like, man, this is completely different than what I got used to over the past, like, 3 to 4 months even. Because even before the draft, it was, we need to trade Dame. Now we're just chilling and looking forward to the season. And there's Blazer basketball less than 24 hours from now. Who knows if we can watch it, but at least there's Blazer basketball. So, man, like, I appreciate everybody in chat. Even the people that, just watch us and don't comment. I know there's a lot of you out there, and I just want to say I appreciate you as well. And shout out to everybody in chat as well. Ready to get going, man.
I was thinking about that today. I was like, man, every summer I look forward to like the draft and free agency day. It's like one of my favorite days of the year, maybe outside of trade deadline day. And like I felt like we were so prepared for the draft this year. And I just like, I love the transactional part of the NBA. Like it's always been my thing. And I've always enjoyed like the team building aspect of the off season and all that. And I was thinking, man, I hated it this off season. Like I absolutely hated it. And yeah, it's so weird like that I'm actually looking more forward to watching a game than I am those big events that I usually have higher on my list.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's fun from a content creation standpoint just because everything's popping that time of year and the streams are huge. But, yeah, it felt exactly the same. And it just sucks how long it got drug out because it's like we didn't even get a chance to kind of relax with chat, man. I always look forward to September because we just chill with chat and talk about whatever. And we did not get that. We kind of got it a little bit in August, but we didn't get that this year, unfortunately, like it was just literally all off season until now. And that's why it's surreal that there's basketball tomorrow. It's because it felt like we just got done with like July and summer league, like the big trade just happened. We got new players on our team in the last 2 weeks. It is just weird that they're actually playing tomorrow. It feels more like the trade deadline. It's just super, super strange. So anyway, people in chat. Go ahead.
Sure, Blazer fan.
Improvement. Well, if you think there's improvement, use BetUS and use my link, and you can bet the over on wins, and you can help out the channel. And since it's so certain that we got better, you can cash in. I'll post the link in chat. It's gonna be our picks against the spread sponsor this year, BetUS. Noah, dude that works there, really cool guy. So looking forward to picks against the spread this year. We have 4 new participants, Eric, in picks this year. I don't know. Did I tell you that? I don't think I told you that.
No, you did tell me.
Oh, I did tell you. Yeah. So Steven 503 Crushables and Chase all said they'd be down as podcast hosts on the second channel. Also, they'd be down to do it. So I'm gonna have to send out a daily text reminder or something to make sure we get everybody's picks in, because we're talking about 11 people in chat. So.
We might have to have it to where you have to get your picks in before the stream, because that might.
Yeah, I think people in chat are fine. I will figure out a system for it. I don't know. I kind of like how mods pick in chat, but I think Steven doesn't come in here often.
Waiting for 11 people to pick. It's like our segment. That segment's going to be an hour and a half every.
We used to count chat votes where they would say the team name, and we'd have to say the first 15, and then we'd count them. So it still wouldn't be as hard as that. I can't believe we used to do it that way. That was difficult. But yeah, so looking forward to that this year. Chat, what is the number one thing you're looking forward to this season from this team? What are you most excited for? Just basketball being back? Is it just kind of basic as that? Is it something specific? Let me know in chat.
Can you post the link if you didn't?
Yeah, I'm grabbing the link right now. I was just trying to do my part and not let there be any dead air or anything.
All right, Michael says speed. Josh Brown says development. Eric Olson says scoot. Farrell Roly-Poly says I'm excited for Ryan Rupert Rookie of the Year. Pasty Zach says excited to see the young guys.
I hope Rupert gets to play a lot tomorrow because of it being a meaningful game for him. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, we're obviously not going to play him as much as the starters or anything, but I do want to see him play and get an opportunity. I think he's an important guy to see this preseason, just to see how he looks next to NBA players. In Summer League, I didn't feel like that was the right element for him. He's a defensive guy, first and foremost, and he's the type of guy where if we do have a really fast-paced offense, he, I think, can run the floor and maybe even handle the ball a little bit in the open court, but half court you wouldn't expect him to break anybody down. You wouldn't want him handling in tight spaces. He definitely seems like a guy who will be better offensively in transition before half court. But you could say that about Scoot even. You could say that about Sharp even. Not that Sharp's bad in the half court. He's just such a freaking threat in transition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for the dunks, man. I'm excited for the highlights. I'm excited for that.
I mean, we know we're going to get those.
Yeah.
I'm looking up what, do you know what the current over-under is for wins?
28.5. I saw somewhere, but I don't know if that was something different. Let me look it up.
I'm on BetUS right now. I think Portland's off the board right now.
Are they off the board still?
That's weird.
You see every other team, though?
Yeah.
Weird. Well, we'll be on the board at some point. Meanwhile, you can bet on Rookie of the Year. If you guys are believing in Scoot, he's plus 250. See you, Jackson. Have a good night, bro. You know what I'm most excited for? I'm most excited to go to a game and get a Joe Cronin autograph.
Rock.
Have you ever seen a GM signing autographs?
I mean, I'm sure I have, but yeah, I don't know. It's just the perfect ending to the weirdest summer ever when it comes to that.
He's a rock star.
Now he's a rock star for pissing off Dame and trading him everyone loves him now, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, you just are salty. You need to move on, Eric. I'll move on as long as I don't see him signing autographs, okay? I don't care about anything, but just something about him signing autographs bothers me. Bet Executive of the Year. Yeah, if you think the team's going to be good, Executive of the Year is... If this team is above 500, he probably wins Executive of the Year. They got better by trading their best player ever.
Yeah, maybe. It helps that it's a regular season award because, like,
He's
for
more like
example, Boston for trading for Porzingis and Drew Holiday, even if they're the 1 seed, it's not like out of expectations or anything. Like, so.
he's more likely to win Executive of the Year than Chauncey is to win Coach of the Year.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think they have Executive of the Year. They have a lot of stuff, though. A lot of stuff. Yeah, Portland is off the board. There's 29 teams. What else are you looking for from preseason?
I do want to see Ayton in a different offense. I want to see if Robert Williams and Brogdon are healthy. I don't think we're going to be able to see like how the minute rotation will break down or anything like that. But yeah, I just want to see. I mean, we had the same thing last year, right? Where Scoot got hurt in the first summer league game. We're all excited to watch him play. I just want to watch him play, man, in a Blazer uniform, like more than a little over half a game, you know. So yeah, I'm looking forward to just seeing guys healthy and actually playing on the court. Was happy to hear that Joe said during media day that everyone was a full go. I don't think
no GP2s this year. Let's go.
I don't think there was any injuries in training camp so far, so that's good.
All the sagas are over.
Yeah.
Chat, what's going to be our next saga? Because we've had a lot of sagas the past 2 years, and now it's like we have nothing. No drama.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if it'll happen this season, but I wouldn't be surprised if at some point someone in our expected rotation right now is unhappy with their role or the amount of playing time they're getting.
Yeah.
Like Brogdon, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder what we've told Brogdon. I wonder if it's like, yeah, just mentor our young guys. You'll get minutes. We'll trade you to a winning team that you want to go to at the deadline, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we told him we'll trade you somewhere you want to go, and then we'll like stick by our word with that one. Just like all the other ones except for one of them. So, because that's the thing is you want Brogdon bought into the situation, and maybe he just is totally cool being on a rebuilding team. Maybe he's just totally cool with that. Or maybe he thinks his team is going to be good. But the thing is, like, when they start struggling, they're not winning, is he going to want to be here in a mentorship role if he's only playing like 20 minutes a game? Mm-hmm. Or would he rather go somewhere where he can play more minutes and win more games and ultimately make more money on his next contract? It'll probably be the latter. So in order to get him bought in, I wonder if we've told him that we are willing to trade him by the deadline if he wants it.
Or if we're going to play him a lot more than 20 minutes and he's going to take time from the young guys. Yeah, I still think that's a possibility.
Is he the best player we've had off the bench in... Like, he's the best player we've had off the bench since who?
I mean, I don't know if Robert Williams might be better on the bench than him this year. But
exactly my point. He's our seventh man, and he's better off the bench since who?
I mean, as much as you hated him, like Melo wasn't bad, but Brogdon's better. This point in his career is better than Melo.
Norman Powell's an answer in chat. We started Norman Powell. We didn't bring Norman Powell off.
I don't think he came off the bench at all. I mean, I guess Anthony was pretty good. But then he had to start. I'm talking about once he broke out, but then Dame had surgery, so it didn't matter. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with sixth man of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Like, how can you come up with someone better than the sixth man of the year? But, yeah, in 26 minutes last year, 15 points per game, 4 rebounds, almost 4 assists, 51% from 2, 44% from 3. Crazy three-point efficiency. He was like 40 39, 43 his first 3 years in the league, and then had a dip when he went to Indiana. He had a year of 33%, a year of 31%, and in between those years, 39%, and then last year, 44%. So career 39% three-point shooter. Like, he'll be a really good floor spacer, and that's the thing is, like, he can play next to Brogdon and next to Ant. He can play either guard spot. So I don't think he's going to be a problem on the court in terms of, like, taking away touches, right? Like, if you had a ball-dominant, shoot-first, like, 6'3" shooting guard, then that would be a much rougher fit next to Ant and Scoot. Like, if you had a Lou Williams-type player, that probably wouldn't be the best thing off the bench. But I think Malcolm Brogdon is a good vet in terms of a fit next to those guys, good vet mentor. I still say there's probably an 80% chance we trade him this season. It's kind of weird going into the season, like, expecting somebody to be traded that much, but I do. If I had to guess, I'd say 80% chance he gets traded this season, like more than Jeremy Grant.
Unless we're the 4th seed and we don't trade anybody.
Well, hence the 80%.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's like a 15% chance that we are, like, bad but can't find a deal and we go into offseason like, we actually want to keep him. And then there's like a 5% chance that we're so good we don't trade him, right? Like, there's a 5% chance we're battling for home court advantage. Maybe that's too pessimistic, but I mean, you know, who's our best player? A 19-year-old rookie? Anthony Simons is the best player. I'm acting like national media. I just wanted to see if you'd yell at me because that is blasphemous. But Ant needs to take that star step. You know what I mean? I feel like for us to be that good, like, Ant has to be like 25, 26 a game. We need that, like, alpha score. And maybe he can.
I think he's going to do it.
What's your prediction for his points per game this year? Chat, let me know in chat as well.
Well, the only reason I'm hesitating to say what you just said the number needs to be is I just need to see what it looks like with Scoot, because if Scoot wasn't here, I would be saying, like, just remove Scoot from this team and Dame. I'm saying right now Anthony's averaging like 28 next year. But Scoot's going to have the ball a lot. And so will that make it easier for Anthony to get open shots on kickouts? Maybe. He needs to do a good job of, when Scoot's not in the game, of running the offense. So hopefully he's not just shooting all the time in those situations. So I don't know. His playmaking might go up a little bit, but I think his shooting is going to go back to where it was a couple years ago. So I could definitely see him averaging around 24, 25 a game.
I don't think Scoot will hurt him. I think Scoot, if anything, would help him.
I'm just saying from the sense that it's not like the man, like, he's not the guy for sure. Like, Scoot could be just as good as him this year.
But is Ant's scoring output, like, his optimal scoring output, being the guy where he doesn't have anyone like that next to him, or, like, being the guy in terms of, like, he doesn't always have to do everything? Like, he'll get some open spot up threes and some stuff off the catch because he has a Scoot next to him.
Yeah, for me, it's not necessarily that. I think it's that Scoot has Ayton he can dump it off to. He has Grant he can kick it out to. He will have Sharper Brogdon at times to kick it out to. So to me, it's more that there's literally like 5 or 6 guys that could average 20 points if they got enough shots this year. And that's just, it's so weird to be that balanced and to not know, like, who's going to be the best out of those guys. Yeah.
Somebody said Scoot won't start in chat. If Scoot doesn't start, that'd be blasphemous. I'll be pissed. Like, what are we doing? Why wouldn't we start Scoot? Who are we starting over Scoot? Like the late,
Yeah.
like
Dude, let me just say this right now. If we start Brogdon over Scoot and and we're serious, like it's not to like trade him, it's just like we're trying to win with Brogdon and Thibault and Grant, over Scoot, like what are we doing? Like I don't understand what the heck that would be all about.
yeah, like imagine going to the season like, yeah, that 3-man core, with Ayton. Yeah, we'll make some noise with that. I mean, if you had Dame with that core, people would still be saying we can't compete with Dame. We can't contend with Dame, right? Like, I truly think if you had Dame to this roster, people think we're not contenders still. And maybe we wouldn't be. But it's just kind of interesting to think of it like that.
I don't know. I think we would be.
But I don't know, because you're basically like relegating Scoot and Brogdon to more minor roles. Like,
Oh, I thought you meant like without Scoot, like just Dame instead of Scoot.
Yeah, I don't know if we do. Because basically the only starter you changed out is you changed Nurkic for Ayton. The bench is a lot better, which maybe makes all the difference in the world, but
I mean, Robert Williams is the exact type of player.
Yeah, but he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming health. Like, obviously, if Robert Williams is hurt, that doesn't help us at all. So, yeah.
If he plays more than 35 games, like, that's gravy to me. That's, like, cherry on top, Like, I'm not... Until he can prove that he can stay healthy. I mean, he had a 61-game season, so I guess he has a couple years ago. And I think they only played 72 games that year. I don't remember. Because obviously COVID messed up how many games are in a season. Yeah, it's... Williams is great. But I don't know.
If you had the team last year with Brogdon, Robert Williams, and Thibault off the bench, like, I don't know. I think that team's pretty dang good.
That team's pretty dang good, but can they beat Denver?
I mean,
Can they compete with Denver?
I don't know if any team's beating Denver.
Yeah, but they got to be able to be competitive with them in order to be a contender in my mind. Like, that's the... Yeah. Like, right now there's 3 clear-cut contenders. Mm-hmm. And that's Denver, Boston, Milwaukee. But then you got teams that can be competitive with Denver. That's Phoenix. That LA, the Lakers games with them were close. I know they got swept, but it was kind of like when the Blazers got swept against the Warriors in 2019. Like, they were in those games. Like a couple of possessions difference, and that's maybe a long series. In the East, like Miami, at least last year, could compete. We'll see how they look this year. The Sixers, maybe, depending on what they get back for Harden, maybe they can be competitive, but I don't think they can have much of a chance of beating either of those teams, so...
Yeah. I don't know. I think if you put Dame with this roster, I just think this would be the best roster he'd ever had. At least in terms of the least amount of weaknesses on a roster that he's ever had. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying it wouldn't contend. I'm not sure. The defense would be better, but would the defense be... Like, how good would the defense need to be? Would it need to be top 10? Would it need to be average or better?
Yeah, average would be fine.
Yeah, I'm still unsure as to if that's an average defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know Robert Williams comes in and solves a lot, but Ayton, I think he's a little bit of a defensive upgrade over Nurkic, but not by as much as people think. And then Thibault didn't make much of an impact for our defense last year when he played. Now, having a guy like Ayton, Robert Williams behind him would matter, but that's the thing, is it just comes down to, like, Robert Williams has to stay healthy. Yeah. Because he'd have to, like, carry our defense as a bench guy. It's just kind of weird. But I guess that's what he was doing for Boston. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I just keep thinking back to, so I filmed a Rip City Retro episode with Rich last night, and we're going through the history of general managers in Portland, and so we talked a lot about how, especially in the Dame era, just the inability to have any kind of depth or bench. And the one time he has just like adequate bench players, like they make the Western Conference Finals. So I just keep wondering what would have happened in years like last year, when we had a really tough stretch in November, had a couple injuries and no depth to like counter anything, and just the bench would come in and just get destroyed and stuff like that. I just wonder what would have happened if we had someone like Brogdon and Robert Williams coming off our bench just to solidify that.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to Chauncey's coaching, which that's another thing for this preseason. What are they running, offensively?
Yeah.
How does their half court offense look? Not only just in terms of like how players play in the half court, but what sets are they running? What sets are they doing? What schemes are they running defensively? Are they switching anything up? Based on how they're talking about things, it doesn't sound like they're changing up much defensively, but I'm not sure. It's kind of been like, yeah, we're just installing our stuff, teaching guys our stuff, how we do things, like.
Can't wait to see the stupid zone.
Bro, do you think this team is more suited or less suited than last year's to run the zone?
I think it's about the same. I think the zone is great to throw out like as an occasional situational thing. Like you don't run zone all game and a team calls a late timeout and all of a sudden you're running zone and they're like confused on how to attack it or something. But like when you run it like even like 20% of the time, it just like it's so easy to attack a zone when you're that skilled in the NBA. I don't think any lineup running a zone can work long term throughout a season.
Yeah, no, it worked surprisingly well at the start of last season. Like it worked for longer than it should have at the start of last season.
Because no one was expecting it, and they didn't have a lot of film on it yet or anything like that.
Still, like even 10 to 15 games into the season, it was still working, which was a little bit surprising, right? Because at that point you do have some film, but teams aren't doing like full scouting reports or that early in the season. I mean, they do scouting reports, but not like you didn't have to do a full scouting report. You just had to watch a Blazer game because that's how much they were running it. Like they were over relying on it. The stats were crazy, dude. It was like they had a defensive rating of like 82 15 games into the season or so. It might have been a little higher than that, and the games might have been a little different, but it was like in that ballpark. And that's when I made the contenders video. Like, the Blazers are ready to contend if they stop turning the ball over because they fixed the defense. I was so ready to be optimistic last year that, like, I seriously was referencing a defensive rating of, like, 82 for his own defense and acting like that was sustainable. What was wrong with me? That's how ready to be optimistic I was.
Yeah.
And nobody else at the time was even saying that. Okay, there probably was people that were saying that was unsustainable, but at the time it was like we're all head in the clouds, like, yay, we're finally good again. And it was like, that's so unsustainable. You could not defend at that level running a zone.
Well, the problem is he had Anthony and Dame as the bottom two of the bottom three in a 2-3 zone. And so for those that don't know, so like a 2-3 zone, you have the two guys up like around the elbows of the free throw line who guard the perimeter guys or the point guard or whatever. And then you have three guys along the baseline. You have usually your centers in the middle, and then you have usually your wings and your forwards on the bottom outside. But like, so the center would go and there'd be one extra pass to the middle, and it would be like Anthony trying to guard Ayton or something
Yeah.
in the middle of the paint, and it like
Yeah.
teams figured out you just had to make a couple passes and it just completely destroyed the zone. Yeah.
Rebounding was a major problem too. Like the guys
Yep.
at the top, Grant especially, did not crash down hard enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
And
if they have a normal lineup though and ran a zone with the guards up top and the rim protectors down below, it could work somewhat. I don't know.
as a wrinkle,
Yeah.
it can't work as anything more than the wrinkle because,
Well,
like they in today's NBA, okay, you have to cover more ground defensively than ever because of how good the shooting is. Like the floor is so much better spaced than it was like 20 years ago, right? Like shooting has become such a key, and guys are shooting deeper and deeper threes at high enough clips, and it's like that just makes each zone each player has to guard larger, which makes it a lot harder, which makes the gaps in the zone a lot bigger. Makes it easier to drive against it, easier to thread the needle with a pass against it, easier to do anything against it. And then if there wasn't defensive 3 seconds, then at least like you could camp a big at the rim to take away rim opportunities and always have a rim protector at the rim. Like in college, there's no defensive 3 seconds, right?
Yeah.
That's why you see zone working at college and not in the NBA, is because the shooting isn't as good, so the floor is not as spread. And then also you're allowed to basically just camp a big underneath the rim. In the NBA, you're not allowed to do that. So that's why it never will work as more than something to just throw a team off their rhythm. Throw it, oh, they're in a zone. You're maybe not ready to run it the first play, or maybe you don't have a rhythm. Maybe you're not, I don't know. Like, teams can be thrown off for maybe 2 to 3 possessions. But once they start running the same sets, and a lot of teams will have the same zone sets, it's basically just filling positions and making a cut into a gap when it's there, drawing the big out of the paint with some high post passes, and then looking to high-low or looking for that baseline cutter, and if that gets taken away, you spray it out to the corner, right? Like, it's the more opportunities in a row that you get to do that, the more you kind of figure it out as an offense, because it's basically just the same principles that destroy a zone in the NBA. Maybe you don't execute them effectively the first possession or 2 or 3, but once you get multiple opportunities, then you start picking it apart. And that's what you always see with zones. You'll see zones be effective for like maybe 2-3 plays max, and then you'll see them start to get picked apart. And that was the thing that we were yelling about last year. Remember? It was like, it was good for like 2-3 possessions, and then it started to get picked apart. And it was like, okay, Chauncey, time to switch out of the zone. And he'd keep running the zone and he'd get picked apart. And it was like, dude, they figured it out. Like, switch out the freaking zone.
I mean, it's the same thing we talked about with Terry's thoughts for years. You run the drop coverage on pick and roll. Eventually, teams know, like, before they even get off the plane, how they're gonna what shots they're gonna get against Portland's offense every time they come off a pick and roll. So you can't just keep doing the same thing. And that's as a Beaver fan, their defense, they don't have the most talented defenders, but they run a lot of like scheme stuff that fools the quarterback pre-snap, and so you never know what defense they're in, and that's confusing to someone. But like, if you keep running the same defense over and over, then like you said, the offensive team can just know exactly where to attack it and where you're going to be set up the next time down the floor, and that's never a good thing. I think you always have to mix up coverages and do some things differently. And Joseph Whitebird says attack and kick will most likely make any zone ineffective, and that's a great point, because what was one of our biggest weaknesses last year was our point of attack defense was absolutely abysmal. And if you can't stop anyone on the perimeter, they're constantly getting into the paint off the dribble. That's like, how can you play zone if you're just allowing players to get to the middle at will, and they have either a shot because you have poor rim protection, or there's an easy kick out for wide open threes, and you just can't play defense that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm hoping not to see a ton of it this preseason. We will see. But yeah, like, here's the thing: if you really have no confidence in your man-to-man defense to the point where it's like, okay, we need to run extended periods of zone, you better have more than one zone defense. Like, you better be able to go from one zone to a different zone that, like, has different elements to it so that some of the principles that worked against the first zone maybe don't work against the second zone you're running, right? And that's how you can maybe rotate in zone defenses if you have 2 or 3 of them in order to keep a team off balance and not let them just make the same consistent reads. But that's just the problem with zones, is just the same read over and over and over again, the same cut, it's just super repetitive. Whereas when you're man-to-man, like, you got to beat the man in front of you, and you're not always going to be able to consistently beat the man in front of you. And then you have help from who knows where, right? It's most teams have consistent principles, so there will be a pattern to where the help comes from. But it's a lot harder than just, like, exploiting gaps.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's why I like a 1-3-1 zone, because I still don't like running it all the time, but then you can trap and you can do stuff out of it, or you can not trap, you can sag back. You can do a bunch of different things out of it, whereas most other zones, you're just kind of stuck. Okay, this is my area. You can rotate and stuff, but, like, there's not a lot of things you can do out of it.
Yeah. And, I don't ever talk about, like, when I played basketball anymore because Reddit loses their minds. But if you guys remember from, like, 3 years ago, before Reddit started hating me, I used to talk about the zone we ran in high school was like a 1-2-2 that morphed into kind of a 1-3-1, and, like, I've never seen a team run a zone like this. And basically it was like the 2 bigs overload the side of the floor that the ball is on, so the bigs got to be able to cover ground. But basically it's like you're always trying to take away the high post, and you're always trying to play the pass to the high post and time it and get a steal. And then basically it leaves one guard on the weak side to play, like, whatever skip passes there. And if you got some athletic defenders that are really good at anticipating passes, you're able to get steals out of that at, like, the high school level. But that's the thing, is, like, our zone in high school was specifically designed to take away what teams normally tried to do against zones, which is feed the high post. We also did a good job taking away the short corner. And in high school, like, that's basically what teams do. They don't have, most of the time high school teams don't got bigs to throw lobs to, right? And you don't have crazy shooting or anything like that. So, that was basically the key. And even in the NBA, it's some of the same elements, like that short corner between the bottom corner of the bottom 3 and the middle guy is an area that if you're able to get the ball down there, the entire zone has to turn around and look at the baseline, essentially, and then everything's behind them, right? Like, it's a tough angle to deal with. And then the high post in the middle of the zone, basically you just have options all the way around you if you're able to get the ball into the center of the zone and draw that big up. So that's the thing with zones, is there's weak spots, and if you're able to run different zones that have different weak spots, maybe they aren't as easy to exploit. But there's always going to be those weak spots no matter what you do, or else teams would run more zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned this, but the 3-second defensive 3-second technical, that just, it kind of ruins any chance you have of ever being able to run zone full time. You can't be like Syracuse basketball out here,
Yeah. And even today, it seems like a little less effective in college. But anyway. Fun talk about a zone defense, like, we'll see how much they're running. And that's the thing this year, is, like, we're going to criticize Chauncey as a coach in terms of, like, X's and O's decision. Even though it's a developmental year, what's the point of running a bunch of zone and getting crushed? Like, if we're tanking, then okay. But until we're tanking, he needs to try and figure out how to effectively coach in the league. I don't think he's figured out how to effectively coach in the NBA.
It's got his guys.
It's a developmental season for Chauncey, even, in a way. So he has to figure some things out, because he has struggled. He hasn't been dealt the best hand, but in poker, right? Like, sometimes you're able to bluff your way out of it if you don't have a great hand. Sometimes you're able to smartly play the odds and get some luck because of it, right? Like, it's not just based on your hand in poker, even though that is a big part, and that is luck, what you get dealt. So that's the thing with Chauncey, is, like, he has not played the hand he's been dealt well. He hasn't been dealt a great hand, but he has not played it well. He didn't really have a true, like, lockdown point of attack defender last year, but that didn't mean he should take Jeremy Grant away from his strength, which is a secondary rim protector helping around the paint, and put him on point guards to get screened out of plays where his length was no longer a factor.
Yep. Hopefully he learns from that. He's got the personnel to not have to do that this year. So if we see the same schemes as last year, on the defensive end, I'm going to be kind of perturbed by that.
Go all in on your rim protection. Grant is a secondary rim protector, and you got Ayton and you got Robert Williams, right? And if Robert Williams plays some with Ayton, you should have like 2 rim protectors on the court at almost all times.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, is he can be more aggressive trapping pick and rolls with the big if Jeremy Grant isn't guarding the pick and roll ball handler. Because if Jeremy Grant's guarding the pick and roll ball handler and he's being screened by a center, so you also have Ayton guarding that action and Ayton's guarding above the level of the screen, you have your 2 biggest defenders and your 2 rim protectors furthest away from the hoop. All that you have left is, Scoot and Sharp. Maybe it's Thibault, and it's like Sharp and Thibault for wings are good shot blockers, but still, if there's a center running at them, like, good luck, right? Especially if it's an athletic center. So if you have Grant guarding power forwards, more likely than not, because most of the time they're not going to be pick and roll ball handlers, then he's able to be more around the rim if Ayton's up trapping a screen. And that's probably the best case scenario in terms of the other 4 guys, in terms of who you have protecting the rim. It's Jeremy Grant. Like, Jeremy Grant is a good rim protecting 4. Even in the preseason last year, like, we saw it. He had 3 blocks, if I recall correctly, in that Seattle game, the first preseason game. He looked good protecting the rim, and then we decided to put him on guards all season. So that's the thing, is when you are able to have 2 rim protectors on the floor at all times, it allows you to play one of them, if they're mobile enough, above the level of the screen, trap, hedge, do whatever. You can still run drop, but you can do basically anything because you have another rim protector there to protect the rim in case they get the ball out of the pick and roll and turn it into a 4-on-3.
Yeah. Did you happen to watch any of the Phoenix game yesterday?
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's one game. I'm not like I feel like people just there's certain players like Nurk that I'm not saying he played well or anything, but like it's like they're just waiting for him to do one thing bad so they can all rush to social media and type about it, right? And it, like, as much as I like Nurk, just watching him and then watching the Eubanks come in and miss like 3 defensive assignments in a row, giving up easy baskets and stuff, or having to foul because he was out of position. Like, man, I was just like, I am so freaking happy I do not have to watch this all year. Like,
we'll see how long that lasts, though, man. Like,
I know, but I was just like, man, like, okay, this, like, I'm just relieved that we have at least it's like someone different we can focus on. Like, Ayton's a completely different player than those two, so like if anything, it's just like it's something different to watch, you know. So yeah,
fresh is always better. Yeah.
So I was just like, man, I like it seems stupid that Phoenix has that same problem we had last year, but like on a championship level team. Yeah.
They shouldn't have valued Eubanks like that, is really what it is. Like, Nurk has his own issues. If you have just a solid backup big man who's not going to make many mistakes, maybe it's a Bismack Biyombo, right? Where, like, he's not going to wow you with anything offensively, and defensively he's not, like, amazing, but, like, at the very least, he's just solid and plays his role, and won't blow a bunch of defensive assignments. And it's like, if Nurk is struggling in a game like that, okay, you can play some Biyombo, because, like, you don't need his scoring, you just need him to finish at the rim when he gets the ball. You just need him to be a solid defensive center. That's the problem with Eubanks, and, like, Bol is not solid defensively either. That is a weakness for them because it's not like they have a bunch of lockdown perimeter guys where they don't have to rely on their center defensively. Like, they're going to have to rely on their... Yeah, but they're going to be playing... Like, KD is better around the rim. Booker is okay defensively now, but he's not like a lockdown perimeter guy. He's okay. Beal has always struggled. Those guys are going to be playing tons of minutes, right? Like
they started Kogi last night.
Yeah, but that's the thing is that's one guy.
Yeah,
that's one guy. Like if you only have like one good point of attack defender on the court, you're going to have to rely on your center because other dudes are going to get beat. And you got to have that rim protector that helps and is in the right spot and plays that correctly. That's the problem is Nurkic does a okay job of that. I think he's underrated in that regard, but he's not going to block a lot of shots and not going to be like a huge factor, so he can't like carry your defense that way, just like he couldn't carry ours. And there's going to be moments where he just looks bad because of what he's having to deal with. But even that preseason game, like I know he struggled, but there's a couple defensive possessions that were really impressive from him. Just like being in the right spot and not allowing easy buckets. Had a play where he was switched out and had a good defensive possession against Asar Thompson, I think it was. That's the thing with Eubanks though, and that it is nice that we have like Robert Williams is great defensively. Like you don't have to worry about any of those issues. Like he'll block shots, he'll protect the rim, he'll be athletic, and he'll be in the right position, right? So like that's a guy that won't be frustrating.
Yeah, I empathize with Nurk because I am, I'm 44. My body's like breaking down, like I can't move like at all sometimes on the court. But like my mind, my basketball, like I see what's happening, like I can anticipate like this person's gonna pass to here, and in my glory days, like I would have picked that ball off and gone the other way with it for an easy basket or something, and now like I can't even get to that pass, even though I see it happening, I know it's going to happen, and so like I could position myself right, I just can't move very well. So like it's hard because like I see Nurkic, like he does know how to play defense, and he knows like he's smart on the defensive end. I just don't think his body moves as fast as his mind does. So it's kind of.
I got a feeling of that when I played last week on my ankle. That was like wasn't like hurting too bad, but like I could not jump off of it, and I could not like accelerate off of it. So it's like couldn't really slide off of it. So I kind of felt what I feel like it was to be old, but like I felt like 60 though. Like I felt like I better at 44. I better not be this athletically limited because, dude, I just couldn't even jump, man. It was kind of depressing.
Yeah. Occasionally it's like, why didn't you close out on that shooter? It's like, because I can't.
Good question. If I had an answer for you, I'd let you know.
Like I knew I needed to close out, but just couldn't get there, man.
I closed out in my mind. Anything else you're looking for from preseason, or do you want to take questions from chat?
I'll take questions from chat as I try to think of anything else.
Yep, chat. If you got any questions, any comments, before we wrap up the stream.
I have a question for chat.
Okay.
How long? What's everyone's guess on how long this lasts? And by this I mean the fun, the everything's great. Cronin's a rock star. I think this team is better off without Dave. Like all this kind of stuff. Like, are they going to get a pass all year, or are they, if they're like near the bottom of the standings and start tanking at some point this season? I've heard multiple people say that they can't handle another tanking year or whatever, but like, I mean, that might not be a choice or whatever. So like, how long is it gonna?
Chat poll for this, by the way.
How long is it gonna last before people are just like, oh, okay, it was fun, but they're not winning games, and this isn't for me. Kyle Hostetler says, until we lose to New Zealand.
Imagine.
Yeah.
And people would be like, guys, we're fine. We can still make the playoffs. Phoenix lost to Adelaide. You know, it's just what Deandre Ayton does. He loses to teams like that. It's fine, though.
No, you're not allowed to say anything in terms of long-term meaningful things from a preseason game, right? Because that's your mantra.
The question is, do I want to or not? Because, like, I never really have wanted to. But I don't know. We'll see. It depends on what it is. If Chris Murray goes out there and makes 23s, like, I'm saying he should be the backup power forward this year. Or maybe even the starting power forward, right? Like.
All right. We're 4-0 in preseason.
Okay.
Scoot looks like a all-star already. Like, he just looks like he's the best player on the court. And Anthony, Jeremy, defense looks good. Like, everyone looks decent. It looks like this could be a really good year. Are you drinking the Kool-Aid and possibly having them make the playoffs, or are you staying it's preseason, it doesn't really matter?
I mean, I won't drink a full glass of Kool-Aid. I might drink half a glass. Like, if we go 4-0 and Scoot looks like great, then I'm saying, there might be a legit chance this team could make it into the playoffs, right? I'm not saying that now, but if they look that good, then that would probably be the tone. But I'm not going to sit there like, they're making the playoffs. They were preseason champs. Get ready for an in-season tournament championship now, and we're making it to the NBA final. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to go off of 4-0. But I might be a little bit more positive.
I mean, I've already drunk the Kool-Aid, so I'm just going to be like, told you guys.
You're always ready to drink the Kool-Aid, man. Every year of this channel, I have overprojected the team going into the season.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that this year. And if I do, then at least we're getting the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
We got a chat complainer. We've been positive all stream, pretty much. We've been positive the last 3. You know what's annoying is, like, the last 3 streams have been pretty positive because the Dame thing's over, and we still got these dudes that come in here like, the depressing channel. Like, bro, we've been nowhere close to depressing the last, like, 3 streams. We've been chilling. We've been excited.
I love when it was the stream where I said that, like, I actually think that the Blazers could get home court. And in the comments, it was like, you two have never said a good thing ever about the Blazers. I'm like, what? Did you not watch the stream? Like,
this dude that called us the depressing channel is now telling us to get over it. Get over the fact that we're so freaking depressing, bro. You get over it. We're the negative channel. We're the depressing channel. That's fine. I'll say that with a smile on my face. I'll say that with a smile. So you get over it. Like, chill. We've been chilling. Chat's been civil. That's the first guy this entire stream that has been slightly annoying in chat. We're an hour and 15 minutes in. That's how good the stream has been. This stream has been great. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the season. I don't know how long the positive vibes last for, but it's an interesting question. I'm not making any statements. I don't know what to expect. It could last into June for all I know. Kyle, I don't know, bro. I don't know. We'll just talk with chat for the next 5 minutes, then we'll sign off and go cry ourselves to sleep.
See, it's so funny because, like, the misconception is that we'd be negative if they suck. Like, don't we kind of want them to suck this year?
Exactly. I'm chilling, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I do not care if they are the worst team in the league this year.
Why would we be mad if they get the number one pick? I'm saying for all the fans that are going crazy right now about how awesome and excited they are for the team, I'm wondering how long that euphoria lasts if the team then tanks this season after all. Like, that's not negative. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, asking questions isn't a statement, bro. That's the thing is oh, you don't care if we suck? That means I'm not a real Blazer fan or something. Like, I should be here pissed off if we lose, I guess, because that's what a real fan does. I don't know. But I'm chilling this year. This is going to be a completely different season. We're doing more content than ever. The content is going to be more positive, I guess, because it's like no expectations. It's chill. Our window isn't even here yet. The last, 4 years, it has been clinging on to the Dame window like, oh my goodness, the window's closing. We need to hurry up before the window closes. We need to do something for Dame before the window closes. Oh, we made the playoffs? Oh, we're getting cooked by Facundo Campazzo and Austin Rivers? Oh, no. Maybe it's time to just break the damn window. Right? Like, that has literally been what it has been for the longest time. Oh, Dame, 55 points, but CJ steps out of bounds and the rest of the team goes 1 for 20 in overtime? Yeah. Now it's like, well, the window will be open in a couple of years. I wonder how soon it'll open. That'll be nice. We'll have some sunshine, Eric.
Yeah.
That'll be beautiful. It's like we're coming out of winter right now. In a way.
Yeah.
It's about to be spring. There's about to be things are about to bloom. So.
And you get a couple of nice days, but it still rains a lot. But summer's only a few months away, and
yeah, exactly. So I can take a rainy day right now because the sun's coming.
Yeah,
exactly. And rain helps the flowers grow, right? So you get more blooms. So even if we tank, I'm not gonna be mad.
Yeah.
Chat likes that analogy.
I agree.
I'm so hit or miss with my analogies, too. I'm happy with my analogy. I'm proud of myself. Let's go.
I've already been told 18 million times that I can't be a Blazer fan anymore, so I guess I'm just providing analysis. I'm not actually a fan anymore.
I'm so glad to be past all that until...
I'm not past it. I'm still arguing with people on Twitter about it. So
no, ridiculous. People are arguing with you about it.
Yeah. I don't even say anything, and people are like, get over it. It's time to move on, idiot.
Anyway, chat.
Go ahead.
52% say all season. I mean, I'm cool with that. We'll see. I'm cool with that. I don't know. The real question is, though... Here's the real question, chat. There you go. This is the most important chat poll ever.
Oh, man, You should have just had both answers be the same.
I want to know who's not chilling. We should all be chilling. I know, the 30%, is probably all our mods because they're never chill.
Blazer Stewart wants to talk about FanFest. What do you want to talk about?
Scoot singing is my biggest takeaway from FanFest. It was actually okay. I don't know how much of that was, if there was backing singing with it or what, but we like point guards that wear letter O's and do things on a microphone. So, it's kind of our type. That's what we're into.
What's up, Clutchinson?
Damn, it's been a minute. What's up? What's up, bro? It's always good to see people come back when the season's starting. Are we going to any preseason games? I'm not planning on going to any. If I was going to any, it'd probably be tomorrow just so I could see the game, because who knows if we're going to be able to see the game or not.
I'm going to... As of right now, I'm only going to one Blazer game this year.
And that's the Bucks game.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know.
I haven't decided if I'm going to go to any other games or not.
Yeah, Why? I don't... Part of it is, like, I don't know. Like, my money is so irrelevant to Jody Allen money and Burt Cold money. Like, I shouldn't even take any sort of stand. It's just like, man, I'm still not happy with how things went. Like, I've moved on for all intents and purposes, but I'm also, like, still not happy with who's running the team.
Yeah.
So...
For me, I mean, it's like at least an hour after the game, usually by the time I get home. So to do a post-game show, it's late for that. And then if we both go, then it's super late. You usually have to start without me. It's kind of hard to do.
Yeah.
Both. Yeah.
Luckily, we figured out we can, like, transfer who's running the stream, and we got more hosts, so it'll be easier to work around some stuff. You know, like, I might take a couple of post-game shows off this year. I don't know. We'll see. Like, if I go to a game, I might just be like, I'm chilling for tonight. Like, I'm not gonna rush out of Moda Center and, like, run past Memorial Coliseum to my car so I can get home as fast as possible to start a post-game show, and all these people are looking at this dude like, why is he running?
Mad Mobile says we should fly Crushables to town. That would be cool. But I think it'd be more fun to go to another city and watch a game. And so, like, go watch a Blazer game in OKC with Crushables or something, you know. You can see your boy Chet.
Yeah, fun other than the flying part, but...
Yeah. True.
Speaking of Chet was talking about Chet earlier. So, I saw my guy went off today. What was his final stat line today? Did he play in the second half? He had like 21 in the first half.
Yeah, he finished with 21, so yeah, I don't think he played in this second half.
21 in his first NBA half. Against Wemby at that.
He was bringing the ball up sometimes, too.
He can handle. He's good.
I know.
Like,
I know.
I'm not saying that to you.
It was just like weird watching him, just like act like a point guard.
I'm defensive over Chet because a lot of people said like he won't be good because he's a white American-born center, which is just the worst argument I've ever heard. Like Stephen Vaughn even like referenced like, yeah, there's just not many white American-born centers that are good in the NBA, and that just is like the worst take he's ever. Like, I just hate that because. He played against Kevin Love. Right? But don't base players off of what they look like, you know, off their skin complexion. That's just dumb. So there's a bunch of people that were saying that Chet's not going to be good because white American bigs aren't good. And it's like, he's a good freaking player. It's that simple. He's tall and he's skilled and he's really good on defense. He can shoot threes. He can dribble. He was 2 for 2 from 3 tonight. Like, what more could you want in a big? I guess people want him to look like freaking Shaq doing all this, but other than that, you know, like I know he's skinny, but he's put on some muscle. He's going to be really good for that team. That team is going to be good because they got him this year. Like, they were solid last year, made the play-in. I think he's going to be like the biggest difference-making rookie in terms of a team winning games this year.
Mm.
He's exactly what they need.
I'm pretty sure Walker Kessler's American-born white center, too.
Yeah, I just... That's an argument I've always hated. So, like, seeing Chet's my guy. He went to Gonzaga. But, like, even if he didn't go to Gonzaga, I hate that type of argument. So just seeing him go off, I know it's half of a preseason game, but, like, I am going to celebrate every single time he goes off. Just to prove it. Just to prove himself because he, for whatever reason, has a lot of haters. Don't know why.
And yeah, him and Wemby are going to be so fascinating to watch all season. Hopefully they both stay healthy.
Dude, that up and under from Wemby, the left-handed up and under in the air. Yeah, those guys are going to be fun. Like, the league is going to be more fun to watch. Those two teams specifically are going to be more fun to watch because of those two guys. Like, OKC has SGA and Giddey and Jalen Williams and Chet. Like, that's a fun team, man. They're in position to go after any star that becomes available, too. Like, they are always going to be a dark horse for the next decade, maybe, to get a star because of how many picks Presti got them. So, them and then San Antonio, like, the rest of the team is kind of mid, but I mean, it's going to be really hard for me not to tune in and watch Victor Wembanyama play basketball because that dude is just something we've never seen, and that's always fun. Pasty Zach says he's bullied Chet in the low post. I'd bully you in the low post, Zach. Come on now. Oh, Reddit's missed. Damn. Anyway, 82% of chat is chilling. We are chilling, Eric.
Nice.
Leave a like on the stream. I'm posting a video right after this preseason preview, so check that out. Stay tuned. Going in depth quickly on some things. And yeah, anything else for the stream, Eric?
No, so once again, if Tori and I find a way to watch the game tomorrow night, we'll have a short post-game show talking about what happened. So hopefully that's the case, and we see you guys tomorrow night. If not, we'll be back on these airwaves on Thursday night.
Yep. Looking forward to it. We'll probably figure out.
Which will also be a post-game show.
Yeah,
our
there's almost
Blazers
always
Uprise live post-game show.
Yeah, Blazers Uprise podcasts, live podcast post-game show, something. Yeah, it'll just be a stream. So, looking forward to it. And then 503's podcast dropping tomorrow on this channel. This is the first full week of content, so Hoops Crush will be on Wednesday, and then we'll have Blazers Uprise Live, which will basically be a post-game for the preseason game on Thursday, and then we'll have a podcast with me and Steven on Friday, and we'll react to the first couple preseason games. Then we'll get our first roundtable out. Next weekend is the plan right now, so tons of content and video content on the main channel. We have it coming. We have it coming in. I'm gonna just not say it the way I was gonna say it because I realized it was sus. We got a lot of content coming for you guys, so stay tuned on both channels. If you're not subscribed to the main channel, link in description. And when you're down there, leave a like on the stream as well. So we good? We chilling, Eric?
We chilling.
All right, guys. Have a good rest of your night. Look forward to hopefully catching you guys tomorrow. And until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.